Hello world, Zan here with Stairway to Eternity, turn number 20. And this is going to be a very fun turn, especially because a lot of the things that I actually did last turn, I had to actually to go and change in the middle of the night because I received some pretty bad news. And I'm just going to kind of quickly go through the messages here, and then I'll get to that. So it's basically I got my more fire drakes, I got my imp, whose job is going to be pick up blood slaves. Micklin has I love Lucid the Prophet. I think this is because he and I have finally nagged Lucid enough to start building scouts. So we're both very proud of this development. To that end, 2 blood hunters, 18 slaves. This is insane so far. And look at that, only 2 brigands. I'm really liking the Abyssian blood hunting that's going on. And this is even without the dowsing rods. It's going to get better. There's a battle where my lava warriors just demolish the long dead and retake my province. This is a battle between Satis and Ermor. Oh boy, let's see how this goes. So we know Satis won that major battle in his capital, and now he's starting to break out. Big problem here is we have a bunch of lizards in the cold, since they are cold-blooded. Uh, Check this out, encumbrance 17. You get the severe cold +2, and then cold-blooded and cold. Oh, this is really bad for old Satis. Now, do they get tired as they move? No, it's okay. It's just when they fight, they're going to have that huge encumbrance malice. So although even without that, this many elite warriors might struggle against just this PD, but then over here, hidden in the corner, you have an Archbishop with a bunch of his quickened super sacreds. This is the first time I think I got a real good look at them. So let's see. Magic weapons, shock resist, fire resist, quickness, undying, and strength. So they're gonna hit really hard. They're already resistant against cold and poison, so essentially they've got all resists. Um, High hit points, because that Undying might as well just say HP +6. So the 9 extra hit points. But I guess that's okay. Here we go. So they're going to have 9 hit points and they're going to Undying. So they have about 15 hit points each, 17 protection, and 10 resistance against fire. Yeah, these are they're pretty spooky. Huh. Wonder how this would go. Um, Mace to the face might be a bit dangerous because they're going to be hitting very hard, very fast. These are going to land every time against the 24, 25 armor that I've got. Defense skill 18. They do have a shield. So I think if I got to the point where I end up fighting these, I think it might just be the same thing where I have someone eat the lance charge and that first round of combat, and then start mace to the facing them. The problem is these guys will outnumber my lava warriors at every stage of the game, so I will need I will need a more efficient solution for these guys at some point. Of which I think some of the best ones would be their magic resistance isn't exceptional. It's good. It's not exceptional. Their hit points, again, it goes to 15, and their armor. So these will be fun to fight later on. Mace to the face still seems like the solution, but it's going to be a painful one to implement. Anyways, looks like Ermor Satis gets overrun because it's cold, and they didn't bring their winter jackets. Okay, more astral pearls due to a starry night, and my patrollers over here do their job. So the big deal that is changing a lot of how this game is going to play now is Asphodel pulled a sneaky one because they were originally going to be part of this Armorian coalition, but I think they saw me take this cave, they saw Satis take this, and I've heard that Relay is in these 3 provinces, and they said, well, clearly Abysia is overextended and fighting Ermor, I'm going to attack Abysia. And they were probably communicating with Naba. Naba might have reached out to them, invited them over. So this 2v1 turned into a 2v2. And I don't think Naba knows that Facia is going to join in on this. And I think I want to keep it that way just for. It makes me the prime target for 2 nations, which is going to suck really bad. This is going to be difficult to deal with. But if I survive and I'm able to at least severely cripple the Nabaean main army, I think I can push back against them and go for kind of a quick push against Nabal. If I remember, the cap is in an IOU from Fascia. So if I can just kind of take my border provinces, they're going to push in. I'm going to have to do some Fabian tactic shenanigans where I give ground. And I'm already giving ground, but I'll get to that. Where I give ground and force them to fight me in bad terrain or just in a decisive battle. If I can force the big fight, if I can retreat until I can force the big fight, that I can win. Fascia, I'm pretty sure is going to land on these 4 provinces and then push in, and they're going to not be expecting that. So if I can do at least one crippling hit, they may start offering me peace or back off. It doesn't matter. What I need is I need to quickly kick them out of the war so I can turn around and deal with Asphodel. And I have already a plan in place that I've kind of set up to deal with it, which is I've spoken to, I think I've talked to everybody on the map about this except maybe Satis. Satis, I just let know that he's been bamboozled by Asphodel. The Carrion Riders are not going to be joining in on the fun, and they are not going to coming to save him. So I just told him that's going to happen. I spoke with Novell, and I said, hey, what are your thoughts on Miglin and Relay? Um, how do you feel if you peace out with them? If uh, just let them have peace so that I can have Relay attack Nabal or Miglin attack Asphodel. And his answer is pretty much, as long as they don't touch my forts, I really don't care. So the best one for that, I guess, would have been Relay, because Novell really doesn't care about these provinces, but Relay is not really being responsive to my diplomacy. They never answered the in-game message, and they're not really chatty on Discord. So I can't really count on them. I'm actually going to just start counting on them showing up with a huge army and attacking me in the capital. That's actually what I'm going to start expecting from them. Miglin says he's knee deep in Ormor right now, but if that were to change, he wouldn't mind attacking Asphodel. So I already nagged him a good bit yesterday about it. And I know removing these players from the Armorian War kind of throws Sakanay under the bus, but I think he can handle it. He is a very good player. If you see these guys right here with the little hats, I believe those are assassins, and Novell did nothing but complain about those guys. Because they are tailor-made to kill undead by casting a bunch of bugs and then casting Dust to Dust. Dust to Dust is a very easy to cast spell that is a 22 damage AoE 1. It still requires precision, so in the dark, I think the lizards don't have perfect dark vision. They might miss a bit, but if it hits, there is no save to taking this damage. It's just going to hit you. And 22 damage is enough to kill the knights in one shot. It's enough to probably one-shot the mages. I can't remember their hit points, but since they're undead, they have a lot. So I don't think Sakanay's going to die at all. I think if he was going to die, it would have been that initial battle. And again, it looks like those assassins are just going to make that impossible. So he can be fine. This is actually good. Now that they're fighting each other to the death the whole game, the rest of us might actually have a chance. So my best bet is Grippa. If I can pull Grippa out of the Armorian War and into the Asphodel War, I think I'm in a good position. And the way I'm going to do that is the first part of it, I guess, is me fighting Naba. I need that decisive victory. I ran a few tests, and this is why I'm recruiting these guys now. These guys do exceptionally well against those elite warriors I'm so terrified of. Because even though they have very good defense, because this flail has 2 attacks and a +2 against shield, so it's 2-13. I guess 2 attacks at a value of 13. They harass them down, they hit them pretty hard, and generally these just perform very well against the elite warriors. So, and then against the birds, I know the birds also have very high defense, but again, 2 attacks per one of my units should be able to kind of wipe them out real quick. The problem of the Nabaean war on a tactical level is going to be his Thunder Strikes and his Air Elementals. And his Air Elementals, I'm hoping to counter with my own Fire Elementals, praying that this is what goes on. His Thunder Strikes, there's nothing I can do about it because I have so few units, I guess, right now on the field that I can't afford to be recruiting human bred just for the sake of getting killed. I mean, maybe I could do something like this. And now I have all of these guys get killed, and then these guys be my main fighters. The main thing I don't want is I don't want these guys to get hit by lightning strike. I don't want the lava warrior to get hit by lightning strike. That would be very bad. Uh, these walk right past the elite warriors. Thankfully, I was worried about how that confrontation would go, but in testing, these just walk through them, which is good. So tactically, that's what I'm worried about. Strategically, they have stealthy gens, and I'm worried that any province not connected to a fort, they're just going to raid it. So all of my forts are going to have some sort of garrison that just can walk out and retake provinces, which is why I'm deciding to build a fort here. And I don't know if this fort will finish in time, which is a big worry, but I think I'm going to have to just play that game. This is the rider that was in Old Land. I moved him over here to start building that fort because I have no control over any of this land, which is horrible. So I'm building this fort here so I can at least exercise the zone of control on these few provinces. This one I can't even make it to right now, but once it gets hot, once I have like a temple here and all that stuff, it should be fine. Or even if Statistician Dominion goes up, but I really don't want his Dominion because he's going to start diseasing us. Like a Phasian Dominion should, unless he went cold. I hope he didn't go cold. So anyways, this is for a zone of control here. And I know that the jewel of all of this provinces is Renthale with that high population, but there's no way I can defend that. So what I've done is I spoke to Phasia. I said, listen, I don't expect you to fight Asphodel, but I'll give you this province. The only reward of doing this deal is you get this province because it's such a good province. And this one is not mine to really give you. I've told Novell he can retake it, but if he is unable to retake it, I need you to take this as well. And this is going to do a few things. And he needs to do this turn. I don't know how I can do this turn. This is the deal was he takes this turn. Oh, it looks like there's a road here, so maybe he can reach. Good. And this kind of cuts off Asphodel. So what I'm hoping is that Asphodel kind of moves his forces to this border, because that's even where his Great White Bull is. And then suddenly this becomes Phasian. He can still sneak past with his centaurs and his mages. They're all stealthy. He can still do that, and that's fine. Like sneak past and go raid these. But these will now be in the zone of control of this castle. Hopefully. And while all this is happening, all the mannequins and whatever the heck that he sent over here, he now has to turn around and come all the way over here. And that gives me, in theory, a precious few turns to dedicate to Naba. And I'm hoping that's how it plays. If the armies of Asphodel show up on this border, I'm a little shit out of luck. I'll have to figure that out. But at least that's the plan. I'm hoping that he's like, okay, well, Abysia has all these forts over here. He's probably going to fight Naba. I'm going to go take this easy land in Pangaea that he can't really defend. That's what I'm hoping he's thinking, and that this play of just giving Phasia these provinces. I want this one back. This 143 of the Zots is mine later. I don't care what you say. I hope I don't care what you say, Phasia. I want this province back. I need those Zots. Good thing I didn't build any infrastructure on it. See? It's prudent to wait. That's the plan, guys. Kind of hope that Phasia cuts this off, forces Asphodel to reposition. In the time that they reposition, I hope to have resolved the big old fight with Naba. Might even happen on the swamp, which would be bad because it's gonna slow down my units, and they're just gonna get lightning striked. I'm assuming he's gonna send the small raiding force here and maybe his main stack here. I have enough slaves. Let me actually start transferring these slaves over. Do that. I think it's Shift V. Maxes out the slaves on the unit's equipment, so 30. Move them down here. Shift V again for the other chunk of them. You see now there's some here. So that's going to be 48 slaves. I'll move 4 facts over here. That's enough slaves for me to make 1 imp contract. One thing I'm going to have to test is how bad it is if I blood hunt a little bit on my capital. It's going to tank my income, especially due to losing Renthale. My income next turn is going to be non-existent. And this turn, I have to build this fort. So everything I've been doing so far has just been pure infrastructure. And I'm going to have 2 palisades that aren't even supported with a temple and lab. But I was just quickly trying to, sorry, quickly trying to fortify the gains I had from the war and kind of make them more permanent. Because that's the worry I'm having over here. I have no infrastructure here, so defending this is near impossible. So I'm going to keep retreating Malthus into this forest here. And hopefully, if I can start preaching here, get that heat up, I can then defend it with these lava warriors. I hope that they'd be able to win against, say, a raiding force from Asphodel, especially if I bump up the PD, and I'll consider them in a second because it's still blowpipes, and this is kind of garbage. Kind of garbage against. It depends. If they send their sacreds, technically they can get hit by this. Its effect on damage. So technically they could get hit by this, and it doesn't say it doesn't affect inanimate. Reduce for larger targets. They're going to be poison resistant to like 25 or something, so maybe it'll still help. But yeah, it's going to be fun over there. Over here, I believe we had crafted um, the Vineman trinket. So I'm going to do another one. I'm probably going to do between this turn and the next turn, I'm going to do some testing on how well these assassins fight against the Nebaean leadership, which let's go through it real quick. I have a very good feeling that they'd be able to beat almost any of these mages. Against giants, it sucks because that'll take more than one hit. But against it depends on what these guys have. If these guys have gems and they throw an elemental at me, my assassin's dead. But hey, that's one less elemental that's going to be in combat. If they don't throw the elemental, I might be able to beat this. I can probably beat this every time. I can definitely beat this every time. Against these guys, it's a maybe. These guys hit pretty hard, and they're gonna have the birds. Scouts for sure. I don't know if he's smart. In as the prelude to this war, he's probably recruited dozens of these guys because they'll recruit anywhere. And that's one way to stop the assassin chiefs, is you just get a bunch of these guys. I don't know if he's done that. Now, against the generals, I don't think my assassins can beat these on a one-on-one. Their stats are really good. They're armored. They're ready to go. The only benefit I have is they can't see in the dark as well as I can. But it's iffy. Now, against these like mage warriors, there's no way I can assassinate them without the help of trinkets. Especially like this girl. Man, if I assassinate one of these, oof. And then these guys, I don't know if I can assassinate, or I cannot assassinate without trinkets because of this hin that they're going to summon, the invisible hyena. So I really need those imp contracts. With those imp contracts, anything is possible. I might even have to give these units kind of a ranged attack to keep them out of range. I give them, which one is it? This one, the Firebola, because they're kind of cheap to make. And again, I'll be testing whether I need to do this. And the entire purpose of this is that if they have this in the imp contract, they're just going to sit there throwing these bolas at the enemy. If they hit, this is the same effect. It doesn't say here. This is the same effect as Bonds of Fire. So it's a morale check that they have to break out of. And it's a very high morale check. The 3 armor negating fire damage against some of the mages isn't going to do anything because they have fire resistance, but it's mainly just lower their defense and then keep my guy out of melee so that the imps keep spawning and keep scratching at whoever they're fighting. So it'll be interesting. If he builds scouts everywhere, it's going to be hard. If I don't have enough imp contracts, it's going to be hard. It's just, I was really hoping on this being kind of a 2v1. Now with Asphodel coming, I have to worry about that. I'm actually going to leave this at like, yeah, just put it on 6. All right, so Hooligan's going to come back in here. We've recruited RBL. For now, just search. I don't think it makes a difference. Yeah. It's still 2 turns to get Conch 5. And I don't have any recruit here. Oof, this is pretty bad, guys. I don't know why this lingers here. Just bring him. Commandment over here, and I want him to come get this fort. Or he's going to go claim that throne so I can get more earth gems. Up here, these assassins just hang out and wait. Over here, Citizen Capital. I'm surprised he has not been diseased yet. But that's okay. So let's move back here. This is my site search squad. They can keep site searching. That's all my commanders. So all that's left is kind of channel where my money's going. And in here, these are not all lava warriors. And the debate is how many mages I need. Because 185 gold, each of these little salamanders is worth 9 of these Abyssian infantry. And the kind of the trade going on in the head then is I think each salamander with Phoenix Fire can make 2 elementals, so it's 2 elementals worth 9 infantry. And just because of how effective they are against these guys, that is actually a very good question. And it's a bad habit I've done where I end up with too many mages and too few units. So I think for now, because of this fort, I'm shit out of luck. It did help me find the one use for these guys, the demon bread. When I need gold for things, I can recruit them and not feel as bad because I'm not recruiting warlocks. Because this is going to be 265 gold over 2 turns instead of 285 gold every turn. So in 2 turns, these guys, for 2 turns of recruitment of these guys is 560 or 570 gold. 2 turns of recruitment of this guy is 265. And then their upkeep is cheaper, significantly cheaper. So it's kind of like, okay, I found something. So I can recruit these guys when I am on a gold deficit and still want to make a cat mage. Maybe these guys might be better. But look at that. It's 108, 106. So it's a good thought one there. Yeah, so all that's left is just, I guess, debating on what units I wanted to use. I really don't like having this person make these acorns. I'd rather have one of these guys do it. But, money is the problem. Just making sure my PDs check. I do want more mages here. I've only got 2 mages over here, so maybe I should make another mage in Obalshin instead of Ukrima. But this is where I expect the big fights at. That's a hard one. I'll have 4 mages here, or I'll have 5 mages here and only 2 mages over there. But here's where I expect the fight. So I'm just going to keep this, and the next turn we'll see about building here. I have to go check my old video because I honestly didn't write down when this war was going to start. I think he's still on the timer. I think this turn is still safe, or this is the turn orders go out maybe. I'm not quite sure, but either or I need to wait for him to make the first move. Not because of anything to do with the non-aggression pact, but I need to know what sort of response is necessary to beat Naba. It looks like he's already hired a bunch of mercenaries, so this might be the turn. I need to know what sort of response I need in order to beat him and adjust myself accordingly, because anything that is overkill when it comes to fighting Naba, I need to have ready to deal with Asphodel if he does come to this side of the border. If he comes to this side, hopefully the Phasian plan, where Phasia takes these provinces, forces him to relocate and gives me a few turns of breathing room. The fact that Naba bought all these mercenaries kind of tells me that this is the turn that things are going down. So you know what? I'll buy Urgek, Beast Brother, onto Ukrima, and his job of all his little buddies, is get hit by lightning. Just take the lightning to the face. All of these units just move in there. You know what? If this is the turn that stuff goes down, let me at least get 2 of these. 3 of these. Excellent. Make sure that wasn't a Love Warrior. Good. So I at least have some of those. And get me another Fire Drake. get me another fire drake, move everyone to where they need to be, and make sure I double check in the future whether the war starts turn 21 or turn 22. Uh, Probably a good idea. Anyways, very long episode because things have changed and it's going to get a little bit more exciting now as I try to defend against this 2v1. Try to coordinate with Facia on how this war is going to go, and try and bring Miklin into this attack on Asphodel. So there's there's even a chance, and this would be kind of like a Hail Mary. The luckiest possible draw is Asphodel comes to this border, gets stopped by the Phasian provinces, and as he's relocating to fight me, Miklin decides to attack, and then they both just fight each other forever. That would be just such a good, such a good chain of events. Probably won't happen though. Odds are Asphodel's right here. He's going to be right here, and then we're going to tussle it out. I'll lose against Naba. Ah, this is going to be so much fun. See you next time.